Hello, welcome to Teacher's Tale. So today we are with a new topic, that is main verbs and auxiliary verbs. Last video was about regular and irregular verbs. So today it's two different kinds of verb or a type of verbs, that is main verbs and auxiliary verbs. It's a rather simple topic, very easy to understand. What is a main verb and what's an auxiliary verb? As the name suggests, main verb tells the main action in a sentence. But a sentence main action and main verb. For example, I'll give you 3 sentences. Arif plays cricket. Mother cooked dinner. The bird flies high. In these 3 sentences, what is the main action done by the subjects? 3 sentences main action endana? Arif played cricket. So played is a main verb. Mother cooked dinner. What is the main action done by our subject mother? It is cooking, cooked. She cooked the dinner. The bird flies high. What's the action done by the bird? Flies. So these are the main verbs in these 3 sentences. So main verb is a main action done by the subject. Fine. So let's do a quick activity. I'll tell you 3 verbs. Do the action along with me. Dance, clap, write, sleep. So these are the main actions, and if these main actions are coming in the sentences, those actions will be called as, or those verbs will be called as main verb. So what is this auxiliary verb? Auxiliary verbs are, actually they are helping verbs. Auxiliary verbs are helping verbs. That is a main distinction. Main verbs tells them in a sentence, main verb is a main action done by the subject. Auxiliary verbs are verbs which helps the main verb to stand in that sentence. Or sentence main verb in help in the verbs are auxiliary verbs. I'll tell some examples of auxiliary verbs. These are some common auxiliary verbs. These are auxiliary verbs in a category within the verbs. We are all using it in our day-to-day life in sentences. But we didn't know till now that these can be categorized as auxiliary verbs. That's the only difference. So auxiliary verbs are is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had, do, does, did, will, shall, can, could, may, might, should, would. So these verbs are also called as modal auxiliary verbs. Another category and modal auxiliary verbs that we can deal. But these are all verbs which helps the main verb to stand in a sentence. Main verbs ഒരു sentence main verb help these verbs. But there is an exception that I'll tell. For example, she is singing. What is the main verb in that sentence? What is she doing? She is singing. Singing is the main verb. What helps stand singing there? Is. With the use of is, we know that particular girl is singing right now. She is singing in all of sentence main verb singing aanu. Is and the use ulladonde namukku manasilayi that particular girl is singing right now. So think it in another way. She was singing. In that sentence also, singing is the main verb and the auxiliary verb would be was. Because with the use of was, we understood that particular action was happened in the past. Because was, when we will use was in past sentences. Right? Was ulladonde namukku manasilayi ippalalla penkutti paadunathu നേരത്തെ അവൾ പാടിയിരുന്നു. So you understood the difference. What is the main use of auxiliary verb? It actually tells us and give a hint about the tense. ഏത് ടെൻസിൽ, പ്രസന്റ് ടെൻസിലാണോ, ഇപ്പോഴാണോ പാടുന്നത്, അതോ പാടി കഴിഞ്ഞിരുന്നോ, or is it going to happen in future? Understood? Okay. Now I want to tell you an exception. I told you in the beginning of the grammar series itself, I told you in grammar there are some exceptions, but don't get confused. If you know the concepts, you will not get confused. I'm pretty sure about that. So my question here is, in this video I told auxiliary verbs helps the main verbs in a sentence. My question is it necessary that in all sentences we should use auxiliary verb? എല്ലാ സെന്റൻസസിലും ഈ auxiliary verb നിങ്ങൾ യൂസ് ചെയ്യണം. Is it necessary that we should use auxiliary verb so that main verb can have its meaning? The answer is no. It is not necessary. In some sentences, we will not use auxiliary verbs. For example, we laughed. We laughed. Is there an auxiliary verb there? No. Main verb is there. What is action? ഞങ്ങൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്തെന്നാ പറഞ്ഞ? Laugh. So laugh is a main verb. And next sentence, he writes neatly. He writes neatly. Is there an auxiliary verb in that sentence? He writes neatly. No. But it's meaningful. Sentence meaningful aanalle. He writes neatly. He is a subject. And what is he doing? He is writing. Or he writes. അവൻ നന്നായിട്ട് വൃത്തിക്ക് എഴുതും. അവൻ നന്നായിട്ട് എഴുതുന്നു, വൃത്തിക്ക് എഴുതുന്നു. So write is a main verb and the sentence is perfect. We are not using auxiliary verb. Understood? So it's not, don't think in other way around. And also, is it necessary that we are always using main verb in a sentence? For example, I will tell, yes, I am. Are you Ms. Roshna? Yes, I am. Is there a main verb or main action in my reply? Yes, I am. No. There am is playing the role of main verb. Even though it is a helping verb, it's playing the role of main verb. Can you do this assignment? Yes, ma'am, I can. അവിടെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ആക്ഷൻ പറയുന്നുണ്ടോ? പറയാണ്, yes, എനിക്ക് ചെയ്യാം, I can. So even though it's considered as auxiliary verb, ആ സെന്റൻസിൽ അത് മെയിൻ വെർബിന്റെ റോൾ ആണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, ഇംപേഴ്സണേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു എന്ന് നമുക്ക് വേണം പറയാം അല്ലേ. സോ ഈ ഒരു എക്സെപ്ഷൻസും ഈ ട്വിസ്റ്റും കീപ് ദാറ്റ് ഇൻ മൈൻഡ്. Okay, it's not always necessary that we need auxiliary verb to make the main verb meaningful in a sentence. And also in our replies, when I'm telling yes I am, yes I can, I'm not using a main verb. Here auxiliary verb is playing the role of a main verb. I hope you got that concept. So this day's homework, I'll give you two sentences as homework. Please comment below the main verb and auxiliary verb in those two sentences. That's a homework for you. Okay, note down the sentences. So the sentences are, first sentence, the children are playing. You have to comment what is a main verb and what is a auxiliary verb there. Second sentence is, she has eaten lunch. So these are the two sentences. So comment below what is a main verb and what is auxiliary verb in those two sentences. So thank you for listening. Please do watch, support and subscribe the channel for more videos. Thank you.